and final lesson, so I'm just gonna go in and at this after I know I have saved that version and submitted. I'm gonna go save on computer. I'm not ever going to work off of a flash drive. That's a tiny little computer. I don't need to send data through it. I'm gonna work in my student folder on this computer. Lessons, I'm gonna call him 3. At the end, I'll go and save in multiple other spots. Hit OK. Fine. Go up to layers. Ooh, close that guy. Lock him. Unlock. Click in. Let's also add a new artboard. Duplicate artboard. Number 3. That's fine. This can be renamed B number 3. And I also like to move him. He gets so close. Spread out. I didn't need this. I hit duplicate instead of just new artboard. Go back to layers, on template, file, place. Mine just happened to be here. I'm not working off of here, just grabbing a file from here, wherever yours is saved, probably in downloads. Hit place, click, drag it over. Oh, he got a little bit bigger. Let's make our artboard even bigger. Grab artboard, click, hold, drag. Now he fills it. Click off of it. Lock, unlock, hit save. Okay, let's do this. We're going to work on Align and Pathfinder. These are great tools for things. We're going to do a really simple version for now. Click up into your art. Let's make some windows as really simple shining through windows. That works. Now I can Command C, Command V. I can pop them into place that way. I can also go Command C, Command Shift V. It puts it right back on it. I know it's there, so if I'm very careful about grabbing it, I can move them over. Command Shift, Command V, whatever. Let's pretend this one I couldn't quite get on. If I select all of them, and I want to make sure they all get properly aligned, go open up your window, Align. Bring that window on if he's not showing. Sorry, mine's off the screen. And you have, all these can work for you, depending on what you're trying to do. We want to align the top. We want to set them up like, let's pretend like they're going to be little windows. So I can also horizontally distribute. Now, if I click him over, and yeah, I have a template, but let's just say the base was narrower than that. You can always like reselect. See how these guys get on here? Perfectly now. So click and drag, grab all 4, don't grab here. Grab here, because he's only an outline, remember, like a donut. Space bar to move my hand over and move him over. Great. Now this can be used in a lot of different ways. Like you can make a series, copy Command C of windows. I'd do Command Shift V, and then I would very carefully be over that line and drag it down. At that point, you could, make sure everything was evenly spaced. You could grab again, Command C, Command Shift V, drag him down. He starts to give us these smart guys, but look how easily you can see you can start to get windows on. Let's pretend this is your overall building. Let's make him light gray. Oh my gosh, he's in front of everything, not a big deal. Let's go drag him probably down to here. Yep. I can always grab all of these, and let's hit Shift click, and now let's fill these with white. Move them over to make them centered. I can even grab everybody and make them fit on my page. So like there's a little start to a skyscraper. Okay. We won't go so crazy for the last one. Just get them in a place where I can still stack up these. But I want to get it as a circle, up and down even. for whatever reason that may be. Let's go click, hold, drag. Let's click back into it and turn off and line it up. Whoa. If my guides start to make me nuts, I can always get off of them. Command C, Command Shift V if I want to bring them in the same spot. Command V if I just want them anywhere and bring them in. And we'll just do that way because then we will just grab these, align the left, and then distribute the vertical centers. So that's really nice. Here we go. Let's bring him over. Whoop, don't do that. Make sure you are right over that line that you're trying to move. Perfect. Now let's go make something much more complex with Pathfinder. We're going to kind of work this guy up. So I've got a stroke and no fill. That way I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to make my first circle. I can see there's 3 shapes. 1, whoop, hit shift, so he's perfect. 2, that starts to get me nuts when little edges show out, so be careful with this guy. Zoom in and really get, oh, he never lets me. There we go. Like directly over. Sometimes once I get it, then I go and scale it. So at this point I can go click on him right there, go up, go down. It's just hard to make sure that you've got these 2 perfectly lined up, which I don't. You want to have like their centers that way. Okay. Now let's grab all of these and let's truly center them. Great. Can always bring it over if I want. Now, while you've got all of them selected, let's bring it over here so we can see the next step. I want these to come in. There's an easy way to do it when you need something that's symmetrical like that. If I click on this with my direct select, I've got 4 selected. Now I've got 1. If I hit shift, I've got 2. I can go grab this scale tool, click, hold, drag, and pull him in. At this point now, let's click, hold, drag over top of all of them. Let's go look for our Pathfinder. If he's not open, he looks like this. If he's not open, go up to window. Now we've got lots of different options in Pathfinder. I'm going to unite. You can minus. We're going to do that later on in the lesson. You can do the intersect, the exclude, so the opposite of intersect. There's lots of ways that you can utilize Pathfinder to get shapes that you need for cleaner shapes instead of just eyeballing and hoping for things. Okay, I'm going to unite. Makes it 1 shape, which is really nice. So that's what this is over here. Perfect. We're in our last step. Bring them all the way over to here, and let's add 2 more shapes and minus them. Underneath my polygon tool, I can either click and drag. I can hit shift, obviously, to kind of keep him straight. Then I can come over and rotate him, holding shift. I want him straight up and down. You can't get that to happen off the bat. Go back to my main select, click, hold, drag. He's way too big. Let's go make him smaller. Hit shift, make it smaller. I like to bring 1 in place where I want it and then move from there. So that looks pretty good. Now you don't want to just like pull up because then see how he starts to do weird stuff unless you wanted that shape for some reason. We're not for this guy. We're practicing working with individual tiny little pixel points. Grab a point, hit shift, grab a point, grab a point. I personally like to use my arrows on my keyboard, but you can also click and drag. You can hold him perfectly straight by hitting shift. This is a lot of eyes looking forward, right hand doing one thing, left hand doing another thing. Left hand, for me, space bar, right hand clicking to get myself down. Now I want to make this circle. Click, hold, drag with a shift to make it a perfect circle. Don't be silly and think that you just eyeballed it all perfectly straight. Select all three and center them. Look, that little shift made it more perfect. These are those little things that define a really clean and meticulous designer. So I've got all shapes selected. I'm going to go back to Pathfinder. I don't want to unite. Nope, I want to subtract. Minus. Now I've got one bomb shape. Let's go close him in like that. Swap him. Minus so I can see what I'm doing. Bring him over. Now, as my final step for this, I want to add text and pretend that this guy is a logo and we're making some handyman's logo. Let's click and scale it down just a little bit with shift. If you're not holding shift, you're going to do weird stuff. Hit shift, keep the scale. Bring them down to about that size. Now let's go and learn how to work with type. Let's click on the type. You can do two things with type. You can either do click release for point type, which is good for headlines. I don't know why I like my headlines capitalized. You got to go back to arrow to do anything with this guy. Now, when you want to move him, you need to be here. When you want to scale him, you need to be there. Do you see how tiny that difference was? Move, scale. Make sure you hit shift when you scale. If not, you'll get things like this, and I can see them a mile away. So point click is what that was referred to back in the day, is just click release. Okay, the other option, I can hit delete, is click, hold, drag, release, and that gives you body copy, also referred to as area type, which is really nice. So you can have like a write-up about whoever. What's super nice back in the day, I used to have to go and Google lorem ipsum and copy and paste it. Lorem ipsum is just like a term used for Latin gibberish that fills in as placeholder text when we're in the design process and might not have all of our copy ready yet. So I want you to do one of both. Point type for a headline. Click, hold, drag type for an area type box that will automatically fill lorem ipsum. In your headline or in your point type, I want you to call it handyman. Then I want you to look at your type window way down here. Character. Paragraphs is just a little bit lower. We use both of those a lot. You can start to do character styles and paragraph styles also in here, which is nice when you want to save a really complex typography that you want to reutilize throughout a composition. So we'll just open up the character. We're going to drag and drop this in here so he lives and stays. We're going to click on character. I can see he's 80. That's cool. He's Myriad Pro. Let's make him, some kind of thick, heavy font. This one works for me. I would not call that a thick, heavy font, but find a thick, heavy font and scale them to about this size. Mine's 63, but depending on your font, it may be a little different. Then your body copy, I want you to have it spanning the width of your scalable using shift text. Last thing is I want you to click on this. You can always double click into it to get to the actual text, but you have to go back to the arrow to have it just regular selection to then move it. Now, because we set it up as area type, we can always adjust its width and its height. I can also go into my paragraph tab and see these little dash marks that we don't want. You can unclick hyphenate. Very strange that that's a default. Don't love it. Now, when we're all said and done, we can tuck this guy in there and give me something to this degree. This shows your Pathfinder with shapes properly set up as one item, a point type similar to a headline or a subheader. That's a couple of words when you want that, or body copy type and body copy type. Oh, my body copy type is set to 12. Let's make sure it's 12. That's legible. I've got mine at Myriad Pro. Don't do it anything less than 12, but you can use any kind of thinner font that makes your soul happy. You know, whatever. We'll use that for now. It doesn't have to be that. And that he spans that width. Remember that you can edit this. Don't forget to uncheck hypheny. That's super important. And then you've created a little moment that could be utilized for something. At this point, let's make sure we hit save. We should have been doing that throughout. We are saved locally right now, not on a cloud file. It's saving. I can go do an additional save as to make sure I'm getting a backup copy in my cloud. And then I can even do a save as back onto my flash drive just to make sure that I have him there. You would need to make new folders and start keeping these things more organized. Hit save. Looks good. Then go and submit this .ai file that's got a number 3 with it for grading. Let me know if you have any questions.